stress is actually a normal thing. It's hardwired into us as a survival technique. It's your body's means of protection. So, a lot of therapists might say like stress is not a real thing, but that's kind of not true. Stress is a real thing, but stress is what you make out of situations. And there are two types of stress. You've got a positive stress and a negative stress. This is acute stress, which is when you can go from the state of fight or flight into the rest and digest. And then you have the chronic stress, which is the stress that just does not go away. You're living in a state of chronic stress. So there's positive and negative. And the positive stress is actually a normal reaction to having like a happy stress. It's like falling in love or like getting a job, buying a home, like those kind of things. And then they have the negative stress, which is the stress that you can't really seem to figure out the solution to. And what it does is it triggers the sympathetic nervous system, and then it mobilizes you to take action to avoid danger, right? Like the bear. But what happens is your body doesn't actually know the difference between a bear chasing you or work-related anxiety, right? It just knows that you need to take action and you need to prepare for danger. And so it puts you into that negative stress. And then what happens actually is your body really like, after living with it for so long and going through it for so much, your body actually like will just go to like burnout stage. So actually there are 3 stages, which is what I'm going to talk about, the 3 stages of stress. Once I explain to you like the differences between the stress, you can recognize it and then you can learn how to work with it. So we all want to be like, no, we don't want to be stressed. You don't want to be in a state of chronic stress, especially. So the 3 stages. You have the alarm stage. That's the first stage. This is the panic mode when the sympathetic nervous system is activated, but remember, it's activated to protect you. Then your brain triggers the adrenal glands. It secretes hormones like we talked about, which is the cortisol and the adrenaline. And then what happens, your body starts to go through changes. This is like pulse changes, blood pressure changes, blood sugar changes, blood fat changes, breathing, sweating, pupil dilation. All of that happens when you go into a state of stress. Then the next stage that happens is you go into the adaptive resistance stage. And this is what we talked about last week when you adapt to it. So now you're in stress and now you're adapting to the stress. This is when your body can't attempt to turn back to its stable state. So it becomes stressful for too long and for too strong, and your body stays on high alert. Then what happens is it builds up a resistance, and the long-term effects, it affects mood issues, anger, depression, lack of energy, sleep issues. That's just a small part of it. Increased blood pressure, which can relate to heart attacks. Then you've got the increased fat storage. It disrupts your hunger cues. You get aches and pains in your joints and muscles. Again, goes with the digestion. You're not able to go into the rest and digest. So your digestion is a little bit messed up, which causes stomach cramps, reflux, nausea, loss of libido, lower bone density, especially in women. And here's another thing, actually, for women who have a hard time like getting pregnant, sometimes it just messes with your hormones so much. And that's when you hear people who are trying to get pregnant, stop trying. It's because you're going through this cycle of like trying to get pregnant. And every time that you don't, you're getting a little bit more stressed out. So that's like a perfect example of what that means, like stop trying. So the 3rd stage is the exhaustion stage. And this is what happens when you stay in chronic stress. So again, you can dial back and take a look at like things that could be causing stressors in your life that you don't even maybe even know. This is when your body is wired and it can't get back into the rest state, and your emergency resources are depleted and your body starts to shut down. And then again, all of those things go back into like this cycle of weight gain, mood, digestion issues, and so forth. So you can see like the cycle of stress. It's just super unhealthy, right? I'm sure you guys have all heard like stress is a killer, right? Well, there you go. now you can understand exactly why, like what's happening behind the scenes. It's funny, like your body's, your heart's pumping, your lungs are breathing, and your body is doing all of these things, digestion, and you don't even know that it's happening because you can't actually physically see it. So it's just all happening behind the scenes here. So what happens, right? We talked about it. Optimal health is kind of like depleted. It speeds up the aging process. You increase susceptibility to illness, and it adds on body weight. So what do you do? Working out, that's actually fantastic because Working out releases endorphins. It gets your body, your blood flowing, your mood changes. Digestion starts to work a little better because your blood is flowing. Typically the person who likes to work out, you usually will, want to finish your workout with eating something healthy. Some people might go to the gym and then eat like a big fat burger after. So basically, like a lot of people are like, they get in a mood like, I just need to go for a walk. Yeah, that's awesome. That's wonderful. If you can do that for yourself, then you've already taken the first step to acknowledging that you're stressed out. Doing self-care could be, getting your nails done, or, manicure, pedicure, that kind of thing. Things that make you feel joy, some things that make you feel good. Doing some journaling or gratitude journals like we've talked about in the past. Self-care is taking an extra 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes a day that you get to have to yourself, where you can go be by yourself. And if you guys haven't ever done meditation, just keep an open mind to it. It doesn't have to be meditation where you like go into like, the quantum field or anything like that. Meditating is just doing some breathing exercises. And a lot of times, if you're in a state of stress and you just don't have the answers that you're looking for, don't be surprised if you meditate for 10 minutes and something will pop up in your head and you're like, oh my gosh, I've never thought about that. What you have to do is remember, like when you're in a state of stress, walking around and literally like bitching about it all day long is really not going to solve the problem. You might not get the answers that you're looking for because you're in a state of negative thoughts. But when you're by yourself and you start breathing and you concentrate on your breathing, and next thing you know, you are not thinking about all the other things and all the little bits and pieces that people are giving you. It's what your own thoughts and your own feelings and what's coming to you personally. And an answer will come to you and you're like, it's so clear. It'll be so clear that you're like, why didn't I think of that? So if you guys haven't done meditation, like I highly recommend it. And that's a perfect example of going from when you're activating your sympathetic nervous system into the parasympathetic nervous system. It happens like that. Your body can reverse and it can turn around. Guys, if you're there with your significant other and you're having the baby, your body is going through the exact same thing. It might not be go through the same thing of like having the baby, but it goes through the same thing of recovering from that. So that's an example right there. It's not a bear chasing you, but it's just as much, right? But different level.